Hello and welcome back to London Cycle Routes. Today I'll be showing you how to cycle from the Tate Modern south of the river to Clapham in southwest London. This ride takes just under half an hour and you can do the whole thing on quiet streets and protected cycle lanes. By public transport, the same journey also takes just under half an hour, so cycling is a really competitive way to make this trip. If you find this video useful or you just enjoy watching it, then please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as I try to post new videos just like it every week. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to everybody who supports the channel on Patreon. If you'd like to contribute too, then you can find a link in the description below the video. Alright, let's get going. So we're starting this route on Sumner Street by the back entrance to the Tate Modern. If you want to do this route via hire bike, this is where to come. There's a rank of TfL Boris bikes there and also space for Lime, Forest and other dockless bikes if you want to use those. The first section of Sumner Street there was totally traffic free, but quickly we move on to these quieter streets where you may run into a few cars but not very many. We're currently cycling through part of the Great Suffolk Street low traffic neighbourhood, which was put in by Southwark Council a few years ago. It keeps traffic levels on all streets around here reasonably low, with a series of point closures and one-way systems for cars. As a result, it's generally a really nice cycling environment that anyone should really feel comfortable riding in. There are a few things I'd improve about the road layout in this area though. The most obvious is on Union Street here, where the whole eastbound traffic lane is taken up with parking on the weekends because there's only a single yellow line here rather than a double yellow line. That should probably be fixed, but in the meantime do make sure that you cycle 2 meters away from those cars in case someone opens the door of one of them and sends you flying. Every time I cycle through the cut here, it seems to get nicer and nicer with more outdoor seating and greenery going in since it was closed to through traffic in 2020. Here and nearby Lower Marsh are both absolute gems in my view that are probably not as well known as they should be, and I suspect that they're going to start giving places like Soho a run for its money as soon as tourists figure out that they exist. Lambeth should be making more improvements to this in the coming months. You see this row of traffic here? Well, that should be a thing of the past, as they're going to put a road closure on nearby Weber Street and Ufford Street, which will, I think, basically turn that area into a small low traffic neighbourhood. I've always appreciated how the low traffic bit of the cut feeds nicely into these protected lanes on Baylis Road, which are incredibly well done. It would be great to see this quality of infrastructure continued further up Kennington Road and linking to the protected junction that already exists at Oval, and also on Lambeth Road, which is near here, which would really link nicely from Elephant to Lambeth Bridge. We're going to turn off these lanes though, and the way you do that is a little bit counterintuitive. We want to go right, but we're going to go left and use this toucan crossing. You can see the little bike symbol on the lights there which show that you're allowed to cycle across it, but obviously don't forget that it is shared with pedestrians, so don't ride too quickly on it and make sure you give everybody plenty of space. You'll then find yourself on Hercules Road, which is nice and quiet thanks to this single bollard which is doing great work. You can see the street is rather wide here with lots of open tarmac and parking. That's actually in the process of changing. This video was filmed in 2024, as you can probably guess by the weather, but as of January 2025 there's construction work going on Hercules Road to construct rain gardens along the street. Those are basically pretty flower beds which can also help with water drainage. They can prevent flooding, but they also look nice too. So the next time we come down there, hopefully that work will be done and the whole place will look a lot greener. I'm hoping for better pavements as well because they're currently a bit on the small side given how much space there is there. This year, 2025, we should also see some more improvements to this section of the route. We're currently on Cycleway 5, by the way. That's because Lambeth Council is introducing two new low traffic neighbourhoods around here. They're called Walnut Tree and Vauxhall Pleasure Gardens. I'm not sure what form they'll take, but I'd expect a mix of filters to eliminate the remaining through traffic, but also general usability improvements like better crossings for people walking and cycling. Hopefully we should get a better idea of what they're planning by around April or something like that, so make sure you're subscribed on this channel so you can see what happens. We're just passing Jonathan Street on our right there, by the way. If you prefer, you can cut out the section on Black Prince Road that we just did by going straight down Vauxhall Walk and then turning left onto Jonathan Street to join the route just here. As you saw, Black Prince was fine when I cycled on it, but it can get a bit busier at times, especially at the moment where traffic has been diverted down there because of the heavy works on Lambeth Bridge. Both ways of taking this route are fine, I think, and it's really just nice to have options, isn't it? This section of Vauxhall Street here is a funny one. Believe it or not, this is actually a two-way cycle lane, as you can see by the two-way cycle symbols painted on the floor. It is a bit on the narrow side, especially with those tiles to our left, which makes it quite difficult to ride in this direction of the lane. It's just about fine, but if you do encounter someone using it in the opposite direction, do just make sure that you don't accidentally crash into them. I love what's been done here, by the way, where the road has been closed as part of the Kennington Oval low traffic neighbourhood here. You used to be able to drive through there, but it's actually been closed off now, and that's basically quietened down the whole street around the back of the cricket ground, which you can see on our left there. Quite a cool building in my view. I pass through this area quite a lot, and when there is a test match on, it's really common to see this whole corridor here and a lot of this estate car park on the right there basically filled with dockless bikes, as apparently a lot of people cycled to go and watch the cricket, which is not something that I would have expected, to be honest. It's really cool to see, although I do wish that there was better provision for parking those dockless bikes. You could probably use a lot of those parking spaces around the back of the ground as a holding area for them, especially on match days where there's definitely a lot more people cycling to the game than there are people driving. There's a cool architectural detail on the left there next to those windows. It's actually a little embossed relief of a mother with children on the side of Horton House, the council block there. It's a bit of public art that always makes me smile when I go past it, and I wish we had more stuff like that, just cheering things up a little bit around the place. This part of Cycleway 5 goes through the Oval LTN, and as you can see, the streets are nice and quiet. We've passed more people riding bikes than there are driving for sure. The route can get a little bit wiggly at points, so just a reminder that if you need to see a map of the route in addition to the video, then you can always download a digital map that I've made of it, which is linked in the description below the video. It's on a website called Komoot, but once you're on there you can download the standard GPX format, which should work on whatever app or device you prefer. It is a common file. We're crossing into another future low traffic neighbourhood here, by the way. This will be Lambeth's Wyville LTN. I really hope that Thorn Road, which we're just on now, gets filtered as part of it, as it's probably one of the busier streets along this route. It's still not super busy, but you do run into quite a few cars at the junction sometimes, so it would be nice to eliminate the remainder of the traffic here. Like the other two we talked about, this LTN will also be introduced in 2025 if everything goes according to plan, and we should also see details of its design later in the year, probably in the spring or summer, I would imagine. One improvement that would be cool would be a better crossing to get over the road there. Maybe a parallel zebra crossing, because at busy times it can be quite a wait. Now, this street that we're on, Larkhall Lane, starts very narrow. As you could see, we had a bit of trouble getting past that car, but it very quickly widens out. You can see it's more of a normal width street now. And as we continue to follow it down, it's actually going to get really wide. In terms of traffic, it's really not terrible. There's actually a road closure at the very far end of it, on the railway bridge, which we're going to pass later and you'll see it there. Whenever I've cycled down here personally, it's been pretty good, but I have heard feedback from people who say that at peak times, particularly in the evening or afternoon peak, you can find traffic using this as a rat run, and they do it to avoid Wandsworth Road, which runs parallel to it on the right. If that gets jammed up, then sometimes apparently people will just cut in here and cut out again. That all said, I do think that the road closure coming up has made a really big difference, and it's nowhere near as bad as it was pre-pandemic. Now I'm really happy and comfortable recommending that people cycle down here. You can see the bridge just here. It has no entry signs on this side, and on the other side it has no entry signs as well. So you shouldn't see any cars on there ever, except for emergency vehicles and such like. This last bit of Cycleway 5 here through Clapham is probably the worst bit of the route. You can already see that we did pass a few cars and there's a surprising amount of traffic down here, and because the cars are really big, the parking narrows the carriageway quite a bit and makes it hard for everyone to pass each other. You can see that we have to get out of the way of the cars there, but when it's two cars trying to pass each other, it's even more difficult. I think this whole area is a pretty good candidate for a low traffic neighbourhood, and also just a parking removal programme in parts. For example, as we go around the corner here, Cresset Street has its entire eastbound lane taken up by parking, and it's basically not possible for two cars to go down it at the same time. Here you can see we're running into an issue. This guy can't get past us, we can't really get past him. It's a bit of a squeeze. And I've also had similar problems on this section of Venn Street here. As you can see from the width of the car ahead there, it's not really wide enough for two vehicles to comfortably pass each other at the same time. There is a great treat as we round the corner though. We are coming up to the lovely end of Venn Street, which has been completely closed to traffic and has a ton of outdoor dining on it. And you can see there's plenty of people walking, cycling, including kids. It's just a nice space and it's a lot better for everyone. Lambeth is currently consulting on improvements to Voltaire Road and Prescott Place, which are two other similar side roads off Clapham High Street there. And I really hope that they basically just copy Venn Street, because what they've done there is really lovely, and it would be so nice to have three Venn Streets coming off Clapham High Street rather than the current one which we have. By the way, just in case you were wondering, I'm not cycling here. I actually got off my bike at the end of Venn Street and I've just walked over here, I think to get to the TfL bike rank just here, in case anybody was planning on doing this journey by hire bike. If you remember, we started at a hire bike rank at the beginning. But anyway, we are here now, and thank you so much for watching that whole video with me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave a like so other people can find the video. If you really like what we're doing on the channel, you could always chuck money at me on the Patreon. Thank you so much to all of those of you who already do so, and let me know in the comments what you think and if you'd like to see any other videos in this part of town or maybe a completely different part of town. Thanks again, and I'll see you all again next time.